The sacred Tipili. Tipili. Knowing the many ways to arouse a man and finding out what he likes best is every bit as mysterious as discovering the secrets to a woman's pleasure. Just because a man has an erection and is ready to come does not mean he is anywhere near expressing his full sexual capacity. It is untrue that all men are interested in his ejaculating quickly. It's untrue that that's all men are interested in. When given the invitation, they are eager to increase the intensity and duration of their sexual pleasure. Although it's easier to see when they are aroused and when they are not, men yearn to experience the depth of their erotic natures. Learning a man's timing, the types of pressure, positions, and strokes he likes, and the sexual seductions that turn him on are key ingredients to making his encounters especially good. While it is untrue that men are often happy with just about any sexual attention they're given, and they may not seem as particular as women to satisfy a man's deeper desires, you must know the details of his anatomy type. If you want to take a man into regions of sexual delight he rarely experiences, understanding his erotic temperament can significantly improve the quality of your sex, of your fucking. For men, there are fewer physical parts that make distinct differences in the way they reach orgasm. A man with a shorter penis, for instance, does not climax more quickly than a man with a larger one. Similarly, men with larger glands do not enjoy oral sex more than men with smaller heads. Yet while the size of a man's tipili in no way changes the amount of pleasure he can experience, his genital anatomy does tell you what will intensify it the most. With practice, any man can become a better lover by learning to use his shaft with greater dexterity, especially if he also learns to use his hands, mouth, tongue, and mind with greater finesse. Knowing his genital anatomy will give you insights into his weaknesses as well as his natural inclinations and creative abilities as a lover. Different men like different things. No two men are alike. Some do enjoy a lot of foreplay. Some do enjoy giving a lot. Others enjoy receiving and aren't really that into giving. However, many times it's because they just don't know all the hundreds of different things to do. They don't know the female anatomy. They're guessing, or they're going by the last good experience or the last good partner where they're fucking and their sex life was really good. Even if the relationship was terrible, they'll remember the sex was good. But even then, imagine how good it could have been, how much better it could have been if they would have been in tune with themselves and their partner. So much better. So that's why I always say that when people come to Tantra, usually, we're already good at sex. And it's because of that we want more knowledge of it, more getting the most of it. Not what everybody else has. Getting the most of it. Something so good, Why just go for quantity when it's a waste of energy? Draining at times. Why not go for more in that department? Just like we go for more in other things. And so, let's continue. How to identify a man's genital anatomy type is what we'll go through. The simplest way to identify a man's genital anatomy type is by looking at the length and thickness of the erect shaft. In addition, the size and position of his testicles, the average number of ejaculation spurts, and the typical taste of his sexual secretions are used to determine his anatomy type. So let's repeat one more time. The simplest way is by looking at the length and thickness of the erect shaft. In addition, the size and position of his balls, the average number of ejaculation spurts, and the typical taste of his semen. Those are the simple ways used to determine the anatomy type. The coyote man, pit bull man, bear man, pony man, horse man, elk man, deer man, ram man, dancing man. Let's begin our journey. Just to be of a little assistance here, the length. It is said that the average man's penis is twice the size of his thumb. Now, the Kudoshka measure the length of the male penis at full erection in terms of hands. A hand means the measure across a man's open palm. So your palm face up, open. That's a hand. The distance is measured from where the bottom of the index finger meets the palm across the open hand to where the little finger meets the palm of the hand. This distance is similar for all men and is measured by the man's own hands, not by the woman's or by the other partner's, by his own hands. Thus, if a man places one palm face up and his little finger pressing against his body on the underside of his erect shaft, with the rest of his palm held flat underneath the shaft, he will either need to use one or two hands to measure his shaft. The width. The measure of the thickness, the width or girth, create a circle curling the thumb and first finger together and wrapping them around the erect shaft. and then count the joints where the tip of the first finger reaches the thumb. For a shaft with a wide girth, the tip of the first finger may not reach the thumb, and with a narrower girth, the tip of the index finger will curl to meet the first or second joint along the inside of the thumb. So a very thin cock. The ejaculation. The tastes and amounts of ejaculate listed for each anatomy type describe men in a healthy state. Both men and women tend to have more profuse sexual secretions and reach orgasm more easily when they are highly aroused. As is the case with women, when a man is exhausted, stressed, or unhealthy, the amount, scent, and taste of his ejaculate can significantly change. Very much so. The descriptions represent the usual taste of ejaculate as well as the average timing and amount of spurts. Again, for a healthy man, if a man smokes a lot, if a man drinks a lot, if a man takes medication, anything like that, the different foods all will affect the ejaculation, as well as his level of stress, and so on. Determining the non-cardinal directions, for example, cardinal north, south, east, and west, just as they are described for the female anatomy types, the non-cardinal directions, southwest, northwest, northeast, and southwest, for men have characteristics of the two that they are, of the north and of the east. As mentioned for the female types, please keep in mind that physical anatomy does not limit sexual potential. With greater awareness, self-acceptance, and appreciation, when a ram or coyote man who has a shorter and narrower shaft than some of the others knows how to use it and knows himself and feels secure, he can rock it just like anybody else. He can reach really high peak orgasms, and it doesn't make any difference. His size, girth, it's all about that mastering yourself. Once you master yourself, you can cultivate your sexual prowess. You can bring any woman to exceptional satisfaction. Likewise, when you own your sensitivity, when you hone it, men with much larger shafts can learn how to use size to their advantage. If you notice you have the physical attributes of a certain type, yet do not have all the sexual abilities described, it means you have natural proclivity to develop these qualities. You can develop them. It's in you. Finally, remember that your anatomy is only a starting point, and that while you may have a preference for certain types, when you have the desire to know your lover well, you can be with anyone you choose.